Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Natalia Moczulska and this is the news. 19 years ago, Poland joined the European Union. Poland entered the European Union together with 9 other countries, and so far it was the largest enlargement of the European community in history. Poland sought to join Western structures after years of communism. Its first success was joining NATO in 1999. Poland, together with Cyprus, Malta, the Baltic states, and the Visegrad Group countries, joined the European Union on May 1, 2004. After all, when we entered the European Union, we brought enormous potential, enormous confidence in Europe, enormous Euro enthusiasm. No other society besides Poland shows such a far-reaching pro-European attitude. Despite the disputes on the Warsaw-Brussels line, the vast majority of Poles support Poland's membership in the community. We have more and more trouble with the European Union, especially with the European Commission, with the Eurocrats, which causes questions and doubts. There has been talk for years about the project of a two-speed union. According to this theory, the larger economies of the community should develop faster at the expense of the smaller ones. Experts warn that this is a road leading to collapse. At the moment, I believe that there is no greater threat to the European Union than the unequal treatment of member states and the misappropriation of the principle of equality, written, by the way, in Article 2 of the Treaty on European Union. Poland is fighting for this with varying degrees of success. Among the founders of the European community was the Alter candidate Robert Schuman. However, over time, Brussels has been overtaken by the ideas of the Italian communist Spinelli. It is up to the member states to decide which way the community will develop. Wanting to stay in the Union, we will continue to fight more for this Europe of Schuman and yet contest the Europe of Spinelli, so that as much as possible there are national, native values, so that it is truly a union of free states and not a kind of new kolkhoz. Law and Justice supported Poland's accession to the European Union from the very beginning. During a parliamentary debate in January 2004, Jarosław Kaczyński spoke about the opportunities and dangers of joining the European community. In the spiritual sphere, which is most directly, though not exclusively expressed in the preamble, the issues that are essentially decisive for the future of Europe are the fundamental ones. In this subtle sphere is decided what the Europe of the future is to be in essence, what the European Union of the future is to be, whether a terrain of cooperation between European nations and European states, each based on its own particular tradition, cooperation based on the only truly existing European tradition, that is the Christian tradition, Christian in the deepest sense of the word, or a terrain of a great constructivist experiment, an experiment advocated, it must be remembered by many representatives of European elites today, the essence of which will be the rejection of this tradition. The important role of the European Union was discussed by St. John Paul II, who recalled that it was Poland, through the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, that united Europe centuries ago. Earlier today, in beautiful natural settings in the gardens of the presidential palace, Polish President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki made statements in connection with the anniversary of Poland's entry into the European Union. One of the most important points that are in the Constitution regarding precisely foreign policy and precisely also our membership in the European Union in this context is the principle of interaction of authorities. The interaction of authorities which results in a well-executed interaction, when the authorities understand each other, when they talk to each other, when they actually implement the policy of the nation together, when they complement each other in this policy and perform their tasks in a precise manner, that the nation gains from this, that its international position grows, that this voice of Poland, the authorities of Poland, which resound on the international arena in various bodies, like the Prime Minister who today represents us in the European Council, like me who appears at the summits of the North Atlantic Alliance, NATO, or at the UN. Poland speaks with one voice in each case. By joining the European Union, we simultaneously returned to our motherland of civilization. In this sense, one could say that a certain justice was fulfilled, a certain historical justice was completed, and what Poland deserved for a long time was then completed. It was completed because this was also the goal of the entire Polish political class and the entire political elite from the moment of transformation for the first 15 years. This cohesion, cooperation, and continuity was very important.
Przez pierwsze 15 lat. Ta spójność i współpraca, ciągłość była bardzo ważna.
Today, Poland, along with many other countries in the world, celebrates Labor Day. St. John Paul II said that through work, a human becomes more of a human. We all know how earlier for decades the communists celebrated this so-called international holiday of the working class. We remember the symbolism there, what those marches looked like, and what the spontaneous expression of support for the only right ideology consisted of then. Since May 1st, 1955, the Catholic Church has been trying to give this secular holiday a religious meaning. On May 1st, in observance of International Labor Day, marches organized by workers and unions are held annually in many countries. Thousands of South Korean workers took to the streets in downtown Seoul, organizing a mass protest. They are demanding expanded rights and better working conditions. In Manila, hundreds of Filipino activists staged a march calling on the government for better wages and treatment for workers. Protests are also taking place in Switzerland. Demonstrators in many French cities have been protesting for weeks against the increase in the retirement age. The peaceful demonstration in Nantes was also joined by masked protesters in black, who often trigger clashes with police. Meanwhile, Turkish police detained dozens of protesters trying to reach Istanbul's main Taksim Square to attend a May Day demonstration. Istanbul authorities allowed labor celebrations to take place in another district and declared gatherings in all other places unauthorized and illegal. Thousands of devotees gathered on Sunday in India's southern Thrissur city to watch elephants and priests take part in Thrissur Puram, an annual Hindu festival popular for its elephant parade. Elephants carrying cutouts of Hindu gods and goddesses on their heads paraded at the Vadakunathan temple, while priests played musical instruments and devotees cheered.
It's one of the best festivals in the world, where you can see everything. Like you have the best fireworks, the group of elephants coming, the best chanda, best music, and best crowd, best people. Everything comes together for Thrissur Puram.
Thrissur Puram is celebrated on the day when the moon rises with the Puram star in the Malayalam calendar month of Medam, generally falling between April and May. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay tuned for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and some of our other programs. But for me, it's have a wonderful evening.